All right, today we're jumping into a truly fascinating story from the ancient Puranas. You know, that incredible collection of India's sacred myths and histories. And this tale, it's something else. It's all about divine secrets, an accidental listener, and a destiny that gets kicked into motion by a story that, well, was never supposed to be heard by them in the first place. So let me ask you something. Do you think a secret, something not meant for your ears at all, could completely change the world just by being overheard by someone with pure, devoted attention? It sounds wild, right? Well, that exact question is at the very heart of the incredible story we're getting into today.
Okay, let's set the scene. Part 1, A Secret on Mount Kailasa. Our story kicks off way up high in the Himalayas, where a seriously divine story was being told, but it was only meant for one person.
Now, before we go any further, you really need to know what a katha is, because it's key to this whole thing. See, it's not just any story. A katha is a sacred, powerful narrative. The idea is that just hearing it with real devotion, well, it can actually purify your heart and free your soul from fear. It's that powerful.
So picture this. On this absolutely majestic mountain, you have Lord Shiva, and he's sharing the most secret, most powerful of all kathas, the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the story of Lord Krishna with his consort, Parvati. I mean, this isn't just any story. This is knowledge so powerful it's said to grant liberation itself.
But, and this is where things get interesting, there was someone else there. Hiding in a nearby tree, totally unseen, was a little green parrot, a shuka. And get this, it wasn't just eavesdropping. It was completely absorbed, listening with total, unwavering attention. So much so that when Parvati Devi actually dozed off, the parrot started softly answering, yes, in her place, just to make sure the divine story wouldn't stop. How amazing is that? Well, eventually, Lord Shiva opens his eyes. He looks over, sees Parvati is fast asleep, and it hits him. The entire sacred story has been overheard by this parrot. His whole expression changes. He gets very, very serious. This knowledge was top secret, and he knew he had to protect it. Which brings us to part 2, a parrot's dangerous discovery. So this parrot has overheard a divine secret, and that's put it in a really dangerous spot. What comes next is this desperate flight, not just for its life, but to protect the purity of the incredible knowledge it now carries. The parrot is absolutely terrified, so it takes off, fleeing the mountain as fast as it can. And Lord Shiva follows right behind. But here's the thing, he wasn't trying to harm it. He was trying to protect the katha. The little parrot flew over forests, crossed rivers, just instinctively looking for a place of complete safety, a real sanctuary. And it finds one, the holy ashrama of the great sage Vyasadeva. And then, in this moment of pure divine inspiration, it does something incredible. It takes refuge inside the womb of Vyasa's wife.
When Lord Shiva saw this, he just stopped. And he smiled. He finally understood the divine plan that was unfolding. He realized he wasn't just chasing a parrot. He was guiding a soul to its destiny. He then declared that this soul was now totally protected. It would be born as a great devotee, and its destiny was to share the Bhagavatam with the whole world.
And that brings us right to our third section, the great sage's birth. The soul of that little parrot, now perfectly safe, is about to be reborn as a divine child with an incredibly profound purpose. But another strange thing happens here. Years start to pass, and the child isn't born. Why? Well, the soul inside, having heard the entire Bhagavatam, was already fully self-realized. It had absolutely no desire to enter into what it saw as a world of material illusion. So Vyasadeva starts praying. And finally, this divine voice comes from the heavens. It's Lord Krishna himself. He personally speaks to the soul, assures it of its safety, and confirms its incredible purpose in the world. It was only after getting this direct divine promise that the soul finally agreed to be born, and he was named Sukadeva, after the parrot, the shuka, that he once was. Okay, on to our final section, a destiny to fulfill. This is where we get to see how this child, Sukadeva, lives out the incredible destiny that was set for him before he even took his first breath. There's a story about him that really shows you just how pure he was. It's said that when a young Sukadeva would walk past women who were bathing, they wouldn't even react. Why? Because they knew he only saw the soul, not the physical body.
But then, when his own father, the great sage Vyasadeva, followed behind him, they immediately covered themselves. It's such a powerful way to show Shukadeva's complete detachment from worldly thinking. And being who he was, it wasn't long before Sukadeva just left home. He went off to pursue full spiritual realization, completely free from all attachments. His father, heartbroken, cried out for him, my son, but all that came back was the echo from the mountains. Sukadeva had already moved beyond that identity of just being someone's son.
His entire life, his whole destiny, was really building up to one single crucial event, an event that would last for exactly 7 days and 7 nights. It was the exact amount of time he needed to fulfill the very purpose he was born for.
And this is it. This is where it all comes together. Sukadeva Goswami recited the entire Srimad Bhagavatam to a king, King Parikshit, who had been cursed to die in, you guessed it, just 7 days. Think about that. The exact same sacred katha he overheard as a little parrot was now being used to save a king from the fear of death itself. How? By teaching him that his true self wasn't the temporary body, but the eternal soul. The circle was now totally complete.
So what are the big takeaways from this incredible journey? Well, first, it shows that devoted, truly sincere listening can transform anyone, even a parrot, into a great sage. Second, real purity means seeing past the physical body and recognizing the soul inside. Third, sacred knowledge, when you really get it, has the power to free us from our deepest fears. And finally, it reminds us that there's a divine plan. It might be way beyond our understanding, but it's always unfolding perfectly.
So I'll leave you with this thought. If one simple act of devoted listening created a sage who literally saved a king and shared timeless wisdom with the entire world, what could that same kind of deep listening do for you? What kind of potential could it unlock in your own life?